So on this one, since we have a fraction to take the derivative, okay, we could do the quotient rule since there's not, like if there was an exponent out here, I would have to do the chain rule. But since there's not an exponent, I could make this f, make this g, and go through my quotient rule. Okay. But what else you can do now, okay, since there's just like a single number on top, there's not an x on top, we can take this expression, which is to the first power, and we can move it up. And now we can do the chain rule instead of having to do the quotient rule. So I would just bring my exponent in front. That would be -4 times x cubed plus 4x minus 1. Subtract 1 from that exponent, so that would make it -2. Then I have to do the derivative of the inside, which is x cubed, not x cubed, sorry, I've got to do the power rule on the inside. So that'll be 3x squared plus 4, and then the -1 will go away. Then to simplify this, there's nothing I can GCF out of this. This one has a negative exponent, so I want to bring it to the bottom. So on top, I'm left with -4 times 3x squared plus 4 all over x cubed plus 4x minus 1 squared. Now if we had gone through and done the quotient rule, we would get the exact same answer. So either way would work on this one. But if I look at the next one, this time, since there's an exponent on the outside, that means I need to do the chain rule. Okay, but we can't do the derivative unless we're using the quotient rule if something's on the bottom. Okay, so we can't do the quotient rule on this one because there's an exponent out here. So that means we have to move it up first, and then we can take the derivative using the chain rule. So we're going to have f prime of x, move the exponent in front, so that'll be -12. Leave the inside the same. Subtract 1 to make the new exponent -4. Okay. Then the derivative of the inside will just be 3x squared plus 4 again. Okay. And then same thing, there's no GCF here, but I have a negative exponent here, so I need to move it to the bottom. So I'm going to leave the 3x squared plus 4 on top with the -12, and then move the trinomial down and make that a positive exponent. Okay. Now let's look at one more. Okay. This one we have to do the quotient rule on, okay, because there's an x on top. Okay, if we look at the last two, it just had a number on top. Okay. So that's why we were able to bring the bottom up, make the exponent negative, and do the chain rule. Okay. But this one, since both the numerator and the denominator have x's in them, I'm going to have to do the quotient rule. So f will be 3x minus 2. F prime will just be 3. The derivative of 2 will just be 0. G is always the bottom, so that'll be 1 minus x squared. G prime, the derivative of 1 is 0, and then that would be a minus 2x. Okay. So I can take all of this and plug it into the quotient rule, which is our G times F prime minus G prime times F all over G squared. So for this derivative, we'll have 1 minus x squared. So that's G times F prime, so times 3, minus G prime is -2, so that'll end up being a plus 2x times F all over 1 minus x squared squared. And then you do not need to multiply the denominator out. But on the top, you need to distribute and combine like terms. So that's 3 minus 3x squared. Distribute the 2x here. That'll be 6x squared minus 4x all over 1 minus x squared squared. I can combine the x squareds right here. So that's going to give me f prime of x equals 3x squared minus 4x plus 3 all over 1 minus x squared squared.